Hey everyone, it's Carissa at Sprinkled with Glitter, and I'm here with a card project for you today. I'm going to be using some products from the Essentials by Ellen line by Ellen Hudson, and I'm going to use this diagonal window die as well as the zipper panel die. I'm going to use that Celebrate sentiment from that, and then finally the little balloon from the Wish Big stamp set. So I'm starting out with the zipper panel die set, and I'm separating that Celebrate sentiment out, and I'm just using these little Elizabeth Craft wire snips or die snips to separate that. Those work really good. They have a nice fine tip and they can get in there really well. And once I have that separated out, I'm going to use my precision base plate. I'm putting that on my magnetic platform on my Big Shot. Then I'm going to place down some American Crafts gold glitter cardstock and then my die. And I'm going to cut that, run that through my Big Shot machine. This is a really fine line detailed die, and to cut it out of this glitter cardstock would normally be really difficult, but that precision base plate gives me the pressure that I need and gives me a really nice clean cut even on that fine, like thin line die. So while I'm die cutting, I'm also cutting out that diagonal window die from some Chickanity pattern paper, and then I will use this stitch tag die from My Favorite Things and cut it out of some gold glitter cardstock as well as the Essentials by Ellen vellum. Now when you cut the diagonal window die, there's two little slits that you need to complete because of the way the die is manufactured. So it's really easy. I just take my craft knife and finish out those little lines, and when I'm done, I have this really cool diagonal window. Now it scores the lines around the edge for you, so it's really easy to fold these back, and this I'm going to use to make a really cool shaker card. So you can see I have a piece of cardstock, white Neenah Solar White cardstock, that I'm going to place behind that window, and I'm going to make like a little scene in there. So I'm just kind of planning this out, and I'm going to do some stamping. I have that Celebrate just kind of temporarily adhered. I'm using this Eclipse masking tape to create a mask for my balloon, so I just stamped it on there and I'm cutting it out. And then I can stamp on that white card back or that card base. So I'm starting out by stamping that balloon, that first balloon, with some Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and then I'm going to mask it off and stamp the other two. And it will, what that mask does is it makes it look like those balloons are behind each other and prevents the lines from one balloon going into the very front balloon. So you'll see when I pull this mask off here, I have that front balloon that's nice and clean, and then the two that look like they're right behind it. Now from that Wish Big stamp set, I'm also using this really cute scripty It's Your Day sentiment. And I'm lining it up on my grid mat and then just picking it up with my Fiskars Compact Stamp Press. And I'm going to ink it up in some Memento Tuxedo Black ink and stamp it right below where I'm going to adhere that Celebrate sentiment. So it'll say Celebrate It's Your Day when I get it all completed. Now I'm going to do a little quick Copic coloring. I will have all the colors that I use linked over in the YouTube description as well as over at my blog. But I'm starting out with my darkest color, and I'm adding it to just one side, and I'm just putting a little bit on there. And then I'm going to use my light color and blend it out. Now you'll see as I blend this out that there's one area that I'm going to avoid going over too much, kind of to create my glare. So I'm kind of blending it out, and you'll see right there in the center, I will avoid going over that again. Now I used a couple pink markers to do this on the other balloon as well, so adding the dark color and then just blending it out with the light. This is kind of one of the simplest ways that you can do Copic coloring, and you saw I avoided one area so it wouldn't get too dark and leave me with that glare. And then finally I chose a couple of yellow markers to do this with as well. Now if you get a spot that's too blended out and you want to add some more dark, you can definitely go back in with your dark marker and add a little bit more shading, which is what I did there. To adhere my Celebrate sentiment, I'm just using a little multi-medium in the matte finish. That's the Ranger. It's one of my favorite adhesives. And to line it up perfectly, I'm using my T-square ruler to just place it down just to give me a really good straight line because I didn't want that all kind of crooked. And then I went in just with the Copic multi-liner and drew some little balloon strings down into that sentiment to where it looked like they were kind of attached to it. And that completes kind of the inside of my card there. Now I'm also going to adhere that Celebrate sentiment. It's a second one I'm going to adhere it to this vellum tag. Now this is going to go on the outside of my shaker. So while I was adhering everything, I just went ahead and did that. Now this acetate is from the Essentials by Ellen Line as well. It's a really nice thick quality acetate, and I'm just cutting it down to be slightly smaller than my diagonal window piece that I'm putting some extreme adhesive on here. That's how I'm going to adhere it. So I added the extreme adhesive and then just placed my acetate piece on the back of that. And that's what's going to hold the guts of my shaker card in. So you can see when I add it over the top, you'll be able to open that up and see that cute little scene, and I have the acetate holding it in. Now, in order to adhere the diagonal window piece to my card base, I'm just using a little foam adhesive, and because it's a little wide and it would show through the window if I left it that wide, I'm just trimming it down the middle to make my strips a little more narrow. And when I place these all around the edge of that, I'm just making sure that they butt up right next to each other so that there's no gaps where those sequins can sneak through when I put them in there. Now, when I do a shaker card, I like to add some sequins with a little bit of adhesive so that they don't all fall to the bottom. So I'm just adding some sparkling clear sequins to the back of this card here, or the inside of the shaker card, with a little multi-matte medium. And that means that when this is all shaking around, those are going to kind of stay in place so they won't all fall to the bottom. So I added a mix of some sparkling clear sequins from Pretty Pink Posh. I'll go back in and add some gold ones later. And it was at this point that I realized I did not want that yellow horse paper to be the back side of my windows. So I tried to pull this apart, and this is where I totally ruined it. So I had to go through and cut a whole nother diagonal window piece. I cut it out of the same Chickadee pattern paper, and then I just added another piece of pink pattern paper to it. So I'm just adding a bunch of tape runner adhesive to the back, and I'm going to sandwich those or adhere those together to where on the back side of my stripe paper, I'll have that pink showing through. So when the window opens up, you'll have the pink showing through. Now, because it has a couple layers of that pattern paper, it's a little bit thicker. So I made sure that I really reinforced those score lines with my Teflon bone folder. You can see me folding it back and doing that there. And then I am going to add some gold sequins from Pretty Pink Posh as well. And once I get all my sequins added in, I very carefully removed the backer to the foam mounting tape that I'm using here. You don't want to flick this around because you'll get your sequins everywhere. And then I added that piece on top once I had exposed all that foam adhesive. And you can see when you open it up there, you have those fun sequins inside and that really cool glittery sentiment as well. Now, to add the tag on, it doesn't cut a hole, so I just use my Crop-A-Dile to put a little hole in those tags that are going to layer up. And then I added some twine to the center of that diagonal window die, just through those little holes that automatically cut there. And I strung that all through, and then I strung my tag through that onto that twine as well. And I tied it in a quick little bow to finish off my shaker card. And it just makes, I think, a really fun kind of surprise when you open it, maybe something that people aren't expecting. To finish off the tag that was on the front of that shaker card, I wanted to add a few little sequins. So I just went back with my multi-matte medium and added a few more sparkling clear sequins to that front tag. I hope you enjoyed this video showing you how you can use that diagonal window die in a really fun way. It's something I've been wanting to try for quite some time. As always, I'll have all the products listed in the description at YouTube, as well as over at my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com, where you can also see more still shots as well and get more information. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for stopping by, and I hope you have a fabulous day.